which of your personality traits do you feel have contributed to your success or allowed you to become successful?
Patience. Is that a personality trait?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because if you
Because
meet
I've
somebody,
always,
yeah,
I mean, I've always had,
that's great.
I've always known what I can do, and I always felt like I don't want to be show offy or anything, so just do it as it comes. And again, like through the years, you see things that you think, you see a band and you go, oh man, they're really good, and then they break up and you never hear from anybody again. And so I just pacing and patience.
Dude, you're
And
wise beyond your years, even when you
I
were
mean,
little. No, because let me tell you, man, I didn't get patience till like in the last maybe 7 years, maybe 10 if I'm really lucky. So when I hit 50, maybe I started getting patience. But that's really not that I'm the barometer for like humanity, but
no,
I mean,
it's, and I can
having
say that
patience.
I never knew what was going to happen or how it's going to happen, but something always happens, which has kind of made it continuous. Like when Henry says, I don't want to do music anymore, then, I meet Daniel Lanois and all of a sudden, I'm playing bass in his band and then meeting people who think I'm a bass player and it's funny. We were talking about the Coconut Teaser, and I've been playing some gigs with Mark Ford, playing bass for him, and some guy came to see us, and I was talking to my friend Brian after the show, and this guy came up and said, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you guys, but I just want to say I really love your bass playing. I said, oh, thanks. And he said, I've been following Mark. I saw him play at the Coconut Teaser. And then my friend Brian said, oh, Coconut Teaser, that was your place, Jim. And he's like, and the guy goes, oh, what was that? What band? I said, Mother Superior. And he goes, Mother Superior? That guy was a great guitar player. It's like, that was
me. That's funny as hell, man. Oh my God. That's a new president of your fan club, man.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And I just did the session that I did last week, I was playing bass and same thing. Like, people are just taking note of my bass playing. And so that Daniel is that means a lot to me. I played guitar with Daniel when I first started, but he wanted to be a trio, and there's not much to do on guitar when you play with Daniel because he's so unique and great. You kind of want to get out of his way.
Yeah.
So that helped with learning funky bass lines. But yeah, I think that's been my thing. I try not to burn out and I try not to panic. I've seen so many musicians panic through the years that I have a thing that I tell my friend Anna about, that I call it the Monday. I don't do Mondays because so many years of, I know all my musician friends spend their whole weekend thinking, what am I going to do this week? And Monday is like the day that you would get all the calls from everybody going, we got to do this, and we got to do this, and we got to do this. You know what I mean? It was always like the panic day. So I usually let Mondays kind of just go by and then like don't worry about anything. And I always try to, it's always in the back of my head to keep making new songs and keep, make sure you got recordings going. But things have been, between the Motor Sister record and then Through My Eyes, which I put out last year with Phil Jones, I've put out a couple records in the past couple of years, like brand new, fresh stuff. So that's why like I mentioned earlier, I'm working on a new record with Pearl, and that's really fun because it's always nice to write for situations, and she's a big fan of. I mean, that's how it all started with us playing together. Her and Scott were Mother Superior fanatics. Yeah. They used to come to shows. I remember they came to see us in Colorado. Like, if they were in town, they would just pop up at a gig, and that always meant a lot because I always wanted to be one of those bands that musicians liked as well, So,
yeah. I can understand that.
So we got that come in and lots of new stuff.
Always. So let me ask you this. You've always had this sort of patience and this sort of almost like, hey, something will happen. Something, something good will come along. again, if this is too personal, you don't have to answer it. Are
Mm.
you like a spiritual guy? Like, do you have some sort of a higher power, or do you feel like that's looking over you? And again, if you're not comfortable, that's totally cool. But
Well, no, I mean, to be honest, I feel for sure that I don't want to say something's looking out for me, but I feel like whatever gift or talent that I was given, that if I use it the right way, then I do somewhat believe that I don't think I could do all these things by myself, if that makes any sense.
yeah,
So
100%.
I
Yeah,
do feel a little bit guided sometimes. And like I was just talking about the Panic situation, I remember a different drummer friend of mine saying to me, well, nothing's going to happen if you don't, you know, make it happen. And it hasn't really been that way for me. Things have kind of like happened that make me go, okay, I'm doing the right thing because something good just happened.
but making it happen, it takes a lot of different forms.
Yeah. And I'm
You
not
know,
really aggressive with it. I'm not like,
right?
I'm going to call this guy and I'm going to say, hey, I think I'm more confident enough that it's like Daniel says, if you do good work, it always comes to the surface. So
Right.
even all those old records that we made, I'm happy that people like them and respect them. And it's always weird when someone says, your album from 1998 is my favorite one you ever did, because then it makes you feel like, well, you didn't like anything from the last 25 years.
Yeah,
But
damned
they
if
mean
you
it in the
do, damned
best
if you
way.
don't.
They mean
And if
it
you
the
say,
best
hey,
way.
that album you did last year was the best, what the fuck? I have 25 years of that's all? That's just like
Right.
the inner critic, coming
Yeah.
out like, yeah, I feel you on that. No, the
But no, I
reason I
mean,
asked you that,
I definitely believe, that something helps,
yeah,
I'm never, and spiritual is a good word. I mean, yes, I'm spiritual. I don't. It's not something that's written down or that I can explain. But
yeah, I don't mean like religion, like
yeah,
in the Judeo-Christian sense of, I meant spiritual, like a belief in something.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Because, like I
yeah.
said, I don't feel like even when someone says, "How did you do that? How did you move out here?" and I don't know, and then just of all the little breaks I have, and then sometimes you go like, "Oh man, what's gonna come next?" And there's nice surprises that I could have nothing to do with me making something happen. So
Right. Well, the reason I ask you this because I find most people that have that sort of inner peace that are like not like super aggressive or like fucking mental about, oh my God. I mean, look, we all have good days and bad days. I'm not talking about that. But you seem like you've had like a confidence and a belief that you're going in the right direction. And I find people that are like that. Number one, I tend to be more attracted to them. But number two, they tend to have some sort of spirituality and grounding or humility. I heard something just like last night. Someone said, you're either humble or you're on your way. Like you're on your way to being humble. You know what I mean? And I find the people that are like that are humble people, that have that inner peace. And there's no need to be like, like you said, oh, I was so lucky I got to do those Sparks. You weren't like, yeah, I play those Sparks gigs, 20, but there's a difference and different people will position that differently.
I have a really good music friend from high school, my closest friend in high school, and his favorite band was U2. My favorite band was Sparks. And this other guy that we used to hang out with, Mike, his favorite band was Black Flag. And those guys say to me, like, you fucking work with Daniel, you work with Henry Rollins, and played in Sparks. Like, what? I wasn't even, that would be an impossibility if that conversation would have never, if I was standing in that room, we were all sharing our records, I would have never said, I'm going to work with all three of these guys in a few years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm talking about, though. You just put one foot in front of the other and you just said, hey, I believe I'm doing the right thing and I'm walking in the right direction. And if I'm not, I'll get a message and I'll walk in another direction.
Yeah. And I guess I know
like
what
that.
I do, which is basically guitar and singing. And so, just stay true to it and just like I said, like Daniel said, just do good work.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate you answering that.